visionary leader in the field of urban planning and architecture, known for his pioneering contributions to sustainable and resilient design worldwide. But his influence extends beyond design and master plans as he passionately inspires current and future generations of architects, planners, and designers in the country. We have with us tonight in person a globally renowned architect and urban planner, Architect Felino June Palafox Jr. Good evening and welcome to our program, Architect June. Okay, let's talk about flood mitigation. Actually, we just experienced this recently because of the Habagat and the typhoons, Karina, and recently Enteng. What are we doing? How are the cities balancing development towards effective flood control?
As I have shared a couple of times, the solutions to our flooding problem, traffic, transportation, garbage problem, etc., we have put it forward in the mid-70s. With I was team leader, senior planner for the World Bank funded Metro Plan Manila and project officer for the UNDP funded Manila Bay Region Strategic Plan. And unfortunately, there seems to be no institutional memory to implement them. And Ondoy, somebody blamed God for the Ondoy. And I said that time, it's not an act of God, but sin of omission of men and women running our country, 2009. So I met then the President Gloria. He approved most of our recommendations. Unfortunately, succeeding administration did not implement them until now.
Okay, so it's only now again, and the President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has mentioned this in his SONA and in other speeches. How is our flood mitigation program coming along?
It's a long way. If I remember it right, it could be worse this time. After Ondoy, or during Ondoy, 4,000 cubic meters per second came down from the mountains. And the capacity of Pasig River is only 600 cubic meters per second. Where did the 4,000 cubic meters went? It flooded 80,000 hectares of urban land in Metro Manila, around Laguna Lake and Marikina Valley. And because the Parañaque Spillway was done, diverting floodwaters to Laguna Lake, the Mangaan Floodway, but they did not do the Parañaque Spillway. So I mentioned in 2009, Laguna Lake is like a toilet without a flush.
Oh my!
And then the open canal, if people objected it, I recommended a smart tunnel. 3 levels, maybe the first 2 levels could be tollway, roadway. The lowest level can be spillway, or during big floods, the whole smart tunnel can be a spillway from Laguna Lake to Manila Bay.
Ayan, ito pong drainage system. Let's talk about the drainage system. Some say it's quite antiquated already. It's been around for hindi naman centuries, pero many decades. How do we upgrade our drainage system in the metropolis?
For one, the way we plan at Palafox, from reeds to reef, from the top of the mountain to the highlands, midlands, lowlands, and the coastline. It should be very comprehensive. And our drainage system, flood control, we realized that so undersized because other projects we've done elsewhere in the world, 100-year return of big floods or typhoons. But here, our flood control drainage is designed only for 25 years. So it's 75 years undersized. And even our subdivision law, even if you do mountain communities, 70% saleable and 30% non-saleable includes the roads. It's actually just 8% open space. And open spaces, the rainwaters percolate to the ground. Like Singapore has 45% open space, excluding the roads. And then Hong Kong, 71% open space, excluding the roads. So you see, let's say higher ground like for Bonifacio or for McKinley, it used to be grass. Now probably 70% concrete.
Yes.
So the runoff water is much larger now. Yeah.
Where does all this water go? It goes to the streets.
Yeah. Runoff,
instead of going through a drainage system. So, ano po ba? Magbubungkal ba tayo ng lupa? Kailangan ba nating bakbakin yung mga kalye at maghukay ulit para magkabit po ng mga mas maayos na drainage?
Yeah, there are not just that. We could start from the rooftop, rainwater harvesting, and rainwater harvesting within the ground. And I was told there's supposed to be a law that every barangay should have rainwater harvesting. Like in Fort Bonifacio, they have this. Under Burco Circle, they have a big cistern
Yes.
to harvest the water.
Yes. Talking about cisterns, ito po yung parang mga underground reservoirs or mga catch
Yeah.
basins. Napag-usapan to right after Ondoy. And
Yeah.
they were talking about having mini reservoirs all around the metropolis. Ano po? Meron bang nangyaring ganon? Bukod sa BGC?
I don't remember any that took place. All our projects, we recommend it. Whether the client follows our recommendation or not, it's on record that is recommended. Even buildings that we design architecturally, we put the rainwater harvesting, solar roof, sky gardens, and even within the ground. And that's what they do in New York and Singapore. It's part of the building code.
Opo, kasi kung magagawa po natin ito, maybe not barangay level because masyado pong marami pong barangay, pero especially the low-lying areas, ano po, at least pag umulan, it just doesn't flow off into the river and flow off into the sea. We can actually use it for the dry season.
Yeah, even the high grounds, you hold the water upstream and release it only when there are no more rains, and you could even recycle it for irrigation and etc. And that's being done in Japan. Small dams, not big dams, so it slow down the flow of water. And it's double whammy, in fact, because with deep wells, may land subsidence, bumababa yung lupa, plus sea level rise, so there will be more flooding.
Okay, I'm interested in the roof decks being used na po, as a catchment for the rain. Pag mga buildings po, ginagawa na po ba yan?
Yeah, dinidesign namin.
So that's part of the
I've done work
new
in 40
design.
countries. Pinaka-challenging bayan natin.
Okay. Let's talk about the reclamation projects, ano po? Because yung mga kilala nating mga iconic buildings or structures along Manila Bay, nawala na po yung tubig beside them. Ano? Kasi the water has receded further into Manila Bay because of the land that has been, di ba, new soil, yung pong reclaimed land. Ano po ang studies ninyo tungkol sa pagbabaha in relation with the reclamation of Manila Bay?
You know, 1976, our metropolitan team stated that time, no further reclamation until the proper studies are done. 1976, 77, I was named hired to help plan the desert town of Dubai. One of my first projects was reclamation. As long as you do it right, we should keep an open mind. Because reclamation, they could also be the breakwater. They can break the high waves of storm surge and tsunami.
Yes,
if you do it right.
Yes.
And as long as you respect the right of way, the fishermen or the big boats, the big ships, and so on. And because 1975, the land value in Ayala Avenue was 30,000 per square meter. Today, 2 million per square meter. And we need more urban land.
What's that again? 2 million
per square meter.
pesos?
Yeah, pesos. In 1975, it was only 30,000 per square meter. And we're running out of urban land. And the coastline communities, there's nowhere to expand but westward or vertically.
All vertical na po.
But
Okay.
it has to be planned well, engineered well, and look at the larger region.
So
the
for
impact.
now, architect, yung po mga naninirahan sa Maynila, hindi po nila pwedeng sisihin yung pong mga reclamation.
As long as the planning is done comprehensively, again from the top of the mountain up to the coastline,
Okay.
and that's because, as I said, 76 we were not in favor for the reclamation. 77, one of my first projects in Dubai is reclamation.
Okay. So there's reclamation in itself is not, I will put quotation, is not evil. It's not a bad thing.
Yes, ma'am. Like Singapore used to be 65,000 hectares. They are now 72,000 hectares because of reclamation. In Manhattan, Wall Street was the seawall. Then beyond Wall Street, all reclamation. But they did it right.
Yes. Okay. Sa aming pagbabalik sa lumalalang epekto ng climate change, there are studies na mas titindi pa ang mga bagyo. How do you think should urban planners and architects adapt their strategies to ensure sustainable and resilient development in Metro Manila? Yan po ang ating aalamin mula sa ating resource person ngayong gabi sa pagbabalik ng In Person.
Ang mga may init na balitang tumatak ngayong linggo sa mundo ng sports.
Ang kanyang dedikasyon at tagumpay ay nagbibigay inspirasyon sa mga kababaihan na mangarap at magtagumpay sa anumang larangan.
I learned how to take care of myself. I learned how to balance my business, my physical activities, and spending time with my family, which is very important.
Kickstart your golfer era and have a bonding experience na siguradong ma-enjoy ng lahat.
PTV Sports, ngayong Sabado, alas 4:30 ng hapon. Dito lang sa PTV.
Nagbabalik po ang In Person. Kasama natin ngayong gabi si Architect Felino June Palafox Jr. At pagpatuloy po natin ang ating discussion. Ito nga po, ramdam na ng lahat. We all feel it. We feel the effects of climate change. We see easy flooding. Kung minsan, dapat dry season pero umuulan na. Tapos wet season, wala namang ulan. Sa mga pag-aaral po ninyo, ano po yung mga ginagawa niyong adjustments sa inyong mga strategies? Yung mga urban planners and architects para po mai-adapt yung mga disenyo po ninyo at ma-ensure pa rin ang sustainable at resilient development dito po sa Metro Manila.
There are already studies, 100-year flooding. So 100 years from now, the depth, gaano kalalim yung tubig. So many of the designs we're doing, ina-address na namin yan. Like coastline cities, let's say one project we had, San Vicente, Palawan. In 100 years, the tsunami could be 4 meters high or the storm surge.
Oh my.
So pati sa deed restrictions and zoning, ilagay namin no livable spaces below 4 meters and 50 meter setback from the coastline. Sa atin mga codes natin, 10 meter setback, 20 meter setback, hindi pa natin ma-implement. Look what happened sa Boracay. 1991 may plano kami. Kailan lang na-implement? 2017.
So mahalaga po talaga ang urban planning.
Napa-forecast.
Yes, and actually, they always say this, and I don't know, I will verify this with you, that the Philippines is generally below sea level. Is this the whole archipelago or just portions of the Philippines, like Metro Manila po? Ano po ba yung...
Let's say, topography ng Metro Manila, maybe 1 meter high above sea level. And then as you go towards the east, like Ayala Heights, which we also plan, and Loyola Heights, maybe it's about 30 meters above sea level. Then it drops to the floor of Marikina Valley and Laguna Lake. Then it goes up again to the Antipolo Mountains and so on. Kaya yung Marikina Valley, Laguna Lake, parang basin talaga. So it could be addressed by design. 2009, we had a Dutch architect working with us, and he shared with us if this happened in Holland, they would relocate the whole village, the whole city.
But can we do that?
I told him, in our country, real estate properties are sacrosanct. So I said, relocate or elevate. Adaptation na yan. Let's say if your ground floor binabaha, ihiwalay mo na lang yung electrical system. Just let it flow. And many of the designs we're doing, parang buildings are on stilts.
Yes.
And interconnect on the third floor or top of the building, skyways. Until 2009, I was not in favor of skyways and skywalks. After I saw what happened to Ondoy, Yolanda, Super Typhoon Katrina in New Orleans, Super Typhoon Wilma in Florida, I changed my mind.
Pero ang skyways po ang nagdudugtong sa mga malalayong
let's say Matrimony goes underwater.
Underwater.
What will connect us? Elevated walkways, elevated skyways.
Yes.
That's why even our buildings now we propose interconnect on the third
So
floor.
now you're in favor of skyways and elevated walkways.
As long as they're properly designed.
Are we building more elevated walkways?
I think we need them. We need them. Interconnect the building, like in Hong Kong. You are in the third level, interconnecting all the most of the buildings anyway.
Yes. So bukod dun sa sinasabi yung interconnectivity, yung disenyo po ng mga bahay, there were proposals na dapat po walang mga kanto, walang yung mga malalaking awning para pag umihip ang malakas na hangin, hindi ho malilift off yung bubong. And they were proposing na dapat may pagka-circular. Is that doable?
Yeah. After Ondoy, we made a lot of, because I went there, I work on the rehab of Leyte and so on with Chuchi Buddhist organization. And as long as it's structurally designed, it can, like the Super Typhoon Odette in Siargao, we must run Siargao also. And the building we designed, Bed and Brew, it survived. Because when
And the design was?
There are awnings.
Meron pa ring awning.
Basta naka-anchor ng gusto.
Basta anchor. Hindi pwedeng substandard ang materyales at ang paggawa. Okay. What about preparing for the big one? Ano po yung ating pong mga bahay at mga buildings?
Ma'am,
what are we doing about that?
I think since year 2000, I had so many interviews na with magnitude 7.2, kinonfirm ng JICA study, the Myers report, Metro Manila earthquake reduction impact study. 2004 population in Metro Manila, 50,000 people will get killed.
Yikes.
3% of tall buildings will collapse. 10 to 20% of low-rise buildings will collapse. It's more. Several bridges, even Pasig River, will collapse. It's only now they're planning to retrofit Guadalupe Bridge. But it was already forecasted, studied in 2004. And we've been saying, I've been invited several times to the Senate and Congress, what if? So at Palafox, we design our buildings 10%, at least 10% more than the building code, the structural code. After a big earthquake in Bam, Iran, we designed the schools to be for a magnitude 10 earthquake that never happened. We're instructed by Dharma Master, founder of Chuchi, because they founded then, the founder. And then after the big earthquake in Kathmandu, I was instructed again to design the university hospitality schools to last 1,000 years, 40 generations.
Wow.
In our country, when I talk 100 years, that's only 4 generations.
Yes, apo. Pero for like simple folks, na ang budget lamang ay ganyan, parang ang hirap po sabihin na, kailangan mong i-retrofit ang bahay mo. How do we do that on a large scale among smaller
kasi po yung
houses?
iba, with all due respect to homeowners and contractors, they don't hire professionals like architects, structural engineers, mechanical engineers, sanitary engineers, and so on. And our projects, if I may, as long as they follow our specifications, it's we address potential hazards. By the way, it's 90% less expensive, I may have said that already, to address the hazards before they become disasters, aside from saving human lives, buildings, infrastructure, and agriculture, and so on. It's 90% less expensive, and it can be addressed through design, proper design. And look at the billions of pesos lost. And I don't know, you fact check it. The budget for flood control and drainage, 1.4 billion pesos a day.
Opo. Itong building code po ba natin is up to date or up to par
Yeah.
with international standards?
I was invited as resource speaker sa Senate after the big earthquake in Turkey and Iran.
Okay.
And even learning from Turkey and Iran, most of the buildings are collapsed. Corruption was involved. That's why many of them went to prison. Developers, contractors. And here, after Yolanda, I also said that corruption kills. Because if specifications of architects, structural engineers are not being followed, and so on, both for buildings and infrastructure, maybe priorities should be for structural audit and retrofit should be hospitals, infrastructure.
Yes.
There should be immediately be audited. Some people tell me, building owners, they survive many earthquakes. Then I tell them, maybe may fatigue na yung steel bars. Like if you bend a paper clip once, it will not break. You bend it several times, it will break.
Yes. Opo.
So buildings also get tired.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
In Japan, I saw a design na medyo nagpa-float na po yung mga structures nila.
Yeah.
Is that
It can even
drawing
move.
lang po ba yun? O totoo
Matagal
pwedeng
na.
mangyari yun?
Matagal na. And separated yung
Yung foundation,
Oo.
nakaseparate po dun sa actual
nakaseparate,
structure
oo.
sa building.
Yeah, I think they did that for Texas Instruments in Baguio at saka yung Iglesia ni Cristo Arena.
Are we gonna try to do that on a more parang
We should do that, especially for tall buildings.
massive building?
And
For tallways po?
taller
For
buildings.
taller buildings, yes.
Yeah.
Oo. Yung mga buildings po na naka-roller, yung meron pong pwede siyang mag-rock.
Yeah, the whole building move.
It will rock with the with the movement of the earth.
Yeah. Even the buildings, they should bend.
We should bend.
Yeah, because
Do
before
we have that na po in our country?
many of our tall buildings we've been doing, like the buildings in Rockwell.
Oh,
Yeah, the
opo.
first 5 towers have the architect of record. I used to live there, 35th floor. There was a big earthquake. And I called up our structural engineer and said, just go back to sleep, just take care of your wine glass.
Well, yun na nga
Kasi
po,
before
no?
structural engineering was very rigid, like an oak tree, so it breaks. Now it should be like a pine tree or a bamboo.
Ayun, it should be flexible.
Yeah, but we should look also our stairs ng fire trucks. In Makati, it reaches only up to 28 floors.
Oo nga po. Yung ladder nga po natin,
Oo.
hanggang 8th floor lang eh.
Hanggang?
From the fire truck.
28 floors.
28 floors
Sa Makati.
pala. Sa Makati. O, sa ibang lugar hanggang 8th floor lang.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should also consider that when you buy condominiums.
Yan ako. Talaga naman. Ito pang isang problema din, yung mga pagsulpot ng mga kalye, dapat nakaplano rin lahat yan. Kasi parang dito, ay, wala palang kalye dito. Wala tayong kalye.
Yeah.
So it's all part of urban
At
planning.
saka nakikita rin, pag-repair ng roads,
Yes.
binabalik yung excavated material. That's a bad material. When you excavate a road, you should get good material. Kaya lubak-lubak na.
Ayan, okay. At marami pa po tayong pag-uusapan dito po sa ating programa ngayong gabi. At pasasagot natin ang mga tanong na yan sa pagbabalik ng In Person.
Susunod sa Health at Home. Ngayong Obesity Prevention Awareness Week, bawas timbang, bawas problema ang ating motto sa Lifeline. Interesado ba kayong mag-alaga ng ahas, tarantula, or iba pang exotic pets? Alamin kung paano sila mapapanatiling healthy at happy sa Power Paws. Pag-usapan natin ang advocacy na fight against cervical cancer kasama si Cheska Garcia Kramer at Kendra Kramer. Healthy never tasted so good. Isang vegan cafe and restaurant ang ating bibisitahin sa FamBam. At Vegan California Maki naman ang ating iyahain sa Healthy Bites. Health at Home. Ngayong Sabado, alas 7 na umaga. Dito lang sa inyong People's Television.
Pag-usapan po natin itong naganap nga po na Marawi Siege at nakita rin natin kung gaano kalawak yung pong naganap na destruction dun sa lungsod. Kasama kayo sa pag-rehabilitate po ng Marawi City. Ano po yung mga reconstruction efforts na nagaganap po dyan ngayon?
Yeah. I was requested to give some plans. Unfortunately, hindi na-implement.
I see.
And then, like, we've done projects in Islamic cities. I'm familiar with Islamic architecture and Islamic town planning. And our proposals then was to maintain the ruins as a memorial, just like Hiroshima, Japan. The bomb area, they retained it. It's a tourist attraction now. They build new townships around it. So that was structurally our proposal. Then you can treat Lanao Lake like Lake Geneva, with around the lake you have pedestrian promenades and so on, and aerial cable cars from the mountains towards Laguna Lanao Lake. And Lanao Lake could be treated as the unifier between Muslim Mindanao, Christians, indigenous people, because now they refer to it as the divider. It can be a unifier. Then the buildings with Islamic architecture and Mindanaoan architecture, green architecture, we had proposed it.
Ano po ang response ng local government dyan, ng autonomous region?
Ang nag-promote nga nun, kasi it was General Lorenzana who invited me. He was Secretary of Defense. And now, then Colonel Browner, now the...
General Browner po,
Now
AFP.
Now General Browner is now the AFP. He was our security escort. I was there during the siege.
Okay.
I was there, going back and forth. Unfortunately, I think the master plan was forgotten and contractors were hired because fast track. But we missed the opportunity of retaining it as ruins. Then new communities, new township, walkable, bikeable, livable, sustainable, resilient.
And safe.
And safe, yeah.
Ayan, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Based on your contributions to the Philippine Development Plan, ano po yung long-term vision ninyo para sa urban development dito po sa ating bansa?
Yes, ma'am. I was hired by Asian Development Bank to help. And my assignment was seamless connectivity, transportation and infrastructure, both physical and digital, up to 2028. And I shared during the conversation, because I think the way we run the Philippines is electoral calendars, 3 years, 6 years. So it's our advocacy now, Philippines 2050, a first world economy, 2040, a first world country. And it's not just me saying that. Goldman Sachs and HSBC, as long as we address our challenges, we can achieve number 16 economy in the world by 2050 and 2075 number 12 in the world. Because we have so many blessings. If we do a strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats for our country, we have longer list of strengths and weaknesses. We only have 7 challenges.
Itong 2050 na vision po ninyo, where you're saying that the Philippines can become a first world economy by then, is this realistic? Or parang suntok sa buwan?
It's realistic because, if I may, we're number 1 in the world in marine biodiversity. We're now number 1 in sailors. We're number 1 in call centers. I like to believe we are number 1 in nurses. Number 2 in geothermal energy. Number 2 BPOs. We have the 3rd or 5th longest coastline. We're number 4 in shipbuilding. We are number 4 in gold. Number 5 in all other mineral resources. And we have a demographic soft spot. Average age is 26. The rest of the world is aging and aged. And number 12, 13 in human resources. And the Filipino expatriates, I don't want to call them OFWs, are the preferred employees of most employers all over the world. And we used to be number 2 in Asia after Japan, 1930s to 1970s. That's why Asian Development Bank located here. All Asian countries thought Metro Manila had the highest development potential as a finance center for Asia. So, Philippines 400 times Singapore, 350 times Hong Kong, 8 times Taiwan, 3 times Mindanao, 3 times Korea, South Korea. And Mindanao is about the size of South Korea. And North Luzon, north of Metro Manila, 2.2 times the size of Taiwan. So we're so blessed. We only have to address our challenges, if I may share. Corruption towards good governance, criminality, better peace and order, climate change, enhanced protect environment, inequality, poverty, infrastructure, and investments, and parenthesis, incompetence.
Parang ang dami po yun.
7 lang.
Oo, 7 lang.
But we have more blessings. We have more
The blessings are far more than our
longer. I
challenges.
could probably at least 25 big ones. Yeah.
Opo. Pero your role now, no, is to advise and to share all this experience and stock knowledge po, to the current generation. What is the yung reception, yung pagtanggap or openness to your plans and
Because
vision?
when I get no reply from government, thanks to the media, it gets attention. Because government supposed to be under red tape, they should reply in 2 weeks. So if they don't reply, I talk to the media. Thanks to you guys, at least it reaches the decision makers.
Yes, kasi we need to help each other, ano po. And actually now, meron din tayong programs ng gobyerno to bring back the brain drain, yung mga brain na lumabas po ng bansa at ibinabalik na po
Brain
sa Pilipinas. Brain gain na tayo
After
ngayon.
working, helping
Yes.
40 countries, I came back.
Yeah. How many countries have you?
40.
40. And ano po, yung lahat ng vast experience yun na yun ay ina-apply nyo ngayon dito sa Pilipinas?
Yes, ma'am. Like 2 months ago, I was the only Southeast Asian speaker, the only architect in Mongolia, Northeast Asia. So I shared our experiences also.
Okay. What is it like to work with other stakeholders, ano po, both from the private and the public sector?
Private sector, they listen and implement. And government, it's analysis paralysis. Yeah.
Too much analyzing
Yes,
po.
ma'am. Like the solutions for this flooding, 1975 pa na-propose. Like the ginawa yung Manggaan floodway, hindi naman ginawa yung spillway. Kaya sabi ko nun, Laguna Lake is like a toilet without a flush.
Yes, opo. Pero you said, magbibuild po ng spillway sa ilalim po ng expressway?
Yeah, it can cut through. Pwede gawin tunnel.
Pero delikado ho yun, di po ba yung foundation ng mga...
No, ma'am.
Ayan, matataas po yun, skyway, etc. Delikado na.
There are tunneling equipment na.
That will not, will not weaken the foundation and structure.
Japan, well, somebody challenged the railway engineers to do the bullet train. Sabi nila, hindi kaya dahil maraming mountains. Then may breakthrough idea. Why don't we do tunnels? Tunnel the mountains. So they're able to seamless connectivity in Japan. And there are so many tunnels in the world. Like Burj Al Arab in Dubai is underwater, the restaurants. The Palm Islands, it's in the Gulf.
And there's a tunnel that connects England and France,
Yeah.
di ba? Right under the British
In
Channel.
fact, I had proposed
Sa ilalim
2006
ng
in
dagat.
New York, we can interconnect the 6 continents of the world. My dream when I was a student, interconnect all our islands. And now they're doing, I proposed the Bataan Cavite connectivity, including a tunnel. They're doing the bridge now. The one in Guimaras, Iloilo, and Negros, I proposed that also long time ago.
So hindi lang po Ro-Ro ang magko-connect, pero yung mga underground, mga tunnels
be
under
done.
the sea.
And it can pay for itself.
Yes.
Kasi when you connect countries, continents, and islands, you create 2 gateway cities. Then maybe the islands, you can just increase the land value by 100 pesos per square meter. It can pay for the infrastructure.
So there's a lot to gain by that. Okay, you also said, architect, visionary leadership. Ayan.
Yes,
Strong political will. Ano pa ba? Good appreciation, ano po? Ng
Good
mga-
appreciation of
good urban planning. Ayan. How
And
will all these...
good design like architecture engineering
Yes.
and excellent management.
So how will all this help to make us first world?
Yeah,
If
we
they
can
all come
achieve-
together?
Yes, ma'am. Yan, it should not just be applied to the president, down to the barangay level.
Yes, all the way down.
Yeah.
Okay. At sige po, meron pa tayong konti pang nais alamin mula po sa inyo, architect. So wag po kayong aalis, wag din kayo aalis at magbabalik ang In Person.
Mga serbisyo ng pamahalaan ipararating sa mamamayan. Diretsahang usapan mula mismo sa mga kinauukulan. Samahan niyo kami sa pagbibigay linaw sa mahahalagang isyong pambayan kasama ang iba't ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan. Dahil sa pagkakaisa at pagtutulungan, sama-sama tayong haharap sa isang bagong Pilipinas ngayon.
Architect June, can you explain the concept behind postcards from the future? Ayan. Anong nag-inspire sa inyo na mag-create ng ganito mga visualizations?
Yeah, one reason is masyado tayong matagal mag-implement. So, we take pictures of the uglification of our cities and create architectural perspectives, how they should look like. Because I'm not sure this generation of leaders will implement them. So I call them postcards in the future. I'm writing a book about it now. Hopefully, future generations towards 2050 will implement them. In Dubai, I used to call them snapshots of the future because I know they will get implemented.
Yes. Actually, it has to start now if we haven't started yet. Ano po? So the current leadership, especially under President Marcos Jr., is important kasi nga, this is long term. If we don't start now, masyado tayong madidelay. We'll never get there. Ano po, in the future.
Yes, ma'am. We do it, we should do it, immediate action program. Maybe for the next 100 days, we identify now all the problems and the solutions. Immediate action, short term, 3 to 6 years, that's our electoral calendars. Then 15 to 20 years, medium term, then long term, and visionary. That's why these postcards in the future are visions of the future. Maybe the next generation of leaders, they will implement them.
Yes, okay. Kayo nga po ay matagal na nirahan sa abroad. You've mentioned that you were working in Dubai. What made you decide to come back to the Philippines? May pagka-patriotic po ba ang inyong pag-uwi?
I was tempted to change my passport in 5 countries. I never wanted to change my citizenship because I feel we are the most blessed country by the chief architect up there, the creator of the universe. We really have, and we know the problems, we know the solutions. And I wish there are more visionary leaders, strong political will again, and more competent people in government. I know some of them are working in the Philippine Development Plan. The people I've worked with in NEDA, Department of Public Works, Transportation, and DICT, if I may call them technocrats, not bureaucrats. They were working beyond 5 up to 9 p.m., just like the private sector.
Yes.
Yeah. And I worked for 2 years in government projects to pay back my scholarship in UP, UNDP scholar, and so on. And fortunately, I think one of the best public works transportation secretary we had was David Consumni. I got appointed World Bank funded projects, UNDP funded project, USAID project, and I learned a lot also. And then before I became a student 8 times in Harvard, I was a guest lecturer.
So mahilig kayong mag-aral talaga.
Continuous.
Education is a continuing thing.
Traveling is a lot of education. And also, 2 Taipans and a tycoon invited me to come back. They said, should you decide to come home, there are projects and jobs waiting for you. The late Henry C. Sr. And the late Enrique Sobel for Ayala. They were the 2 gentlemen who affirmed that I should come back.
Yes, and you have been back. Ano po?
Been back.
And we are, actually, it's privilege. We're privileged that you are back with all your visionary ideas. Ito nga po, about 40 years, ano po, pero you said longer pa than 40 years?
I'm 52 years as architect, 50 years as urban planner this year.
50 years, it's your golden year pala.
Yeah. In fact, I got an award sa UP as a Lifetime Achievement Award and Golden Jubilarian. Yeah.
Opo. So, there is hope for us.
There is. I'm very hopeful, ma'am. Yeah. Even our 7 challenges, they are addressable. If you only have 10% Filipinos who are patriotic, love the country, even reporting corruption, it's a corporal works of mercy because the worst sufferers of corruption are the poorest of the poor.
Yes.
You can get graces for fighting corruption.
Yes. And of course, yung pong environmental challenges din natin.
Yes,
ano
ma'am.
po?
Yeah, the 7 challenges nga.
Naka-built-in din po yun sa inyong pag-address.
Even private sector projects we have, and government sector project, we put the sustainability green building features. So I tell them, if you don't have it in your original budget, they can be retrofitable in the future.
Yan. So, nakaabang lang.
Nakaabang na.
For future upgrading.
Yeah.
Po.
The
Okay.
building would grow as the income grows or as the funds are available.
And lastly, Architect June, ano po yung legacy na nais niyo pong iwan, no? Ano po yung inspirasyon na nais niyo rin pong maibigay sa ating mga manonood ngayon?
One is really planning and architecture and design should not just be, and development plan should not just be short-term and opportunistic. It should be long-term and visionary. Just like what I share on my colleagues at Palafox, every line you draw, you must, if you do a good design, think of the beneficiaries. If you do a lousy, bad design, think of the sufferers. And 51 years ago, 1973, I put in my term paper, development is not worthy of a name unless spread evenly like butter on a piece of bread. When I went to Harvard, they call it inclusive growth, inclusive zoning, and so on. I wrote that 40 years ahead of inclusionary zoning and so on. Yeah, always looking ahead. And also, I'm a prayerful person. If you do a good job, you can get graces. Think of the beneficiary. We've designed, planned 61 billion square meters of land, 20 million square meters of floor area in 40 countries. And you learn a lot also traveling. I've been to more than 1,000 cities, 73 countries, and 7 territories, 80. I learn a lot, not just visit, but learn and observe, both the mistakes and the best practices.
And with that, we'd like to say thank you for sharing your experiences, your vast experiences, your knowledge, and your continuing vision and love for the Philippines. Maraming salamat po, Architect June Palafox.
Maraming salamat po for allowing me the opportunity to share. And hopefully, this interview, you've been asking the right questions. And will save more human lives, buildings, communities, cities, infrastructure, and agriculture.
Yes. Thank you po.
Thank you.
Architect Felino June Palafox Jr. vows to help create sustainable cities in the Philippines and beyond, shaping a better and more resilient future for our country. His vision is all about building a legacy of excellence, progress, and innovation that demonstrates to the world that Filipinos are truly globally competitive. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay po kayo. At yan ang tunay na mukha sa likod ng mga balita at isyong pinag-uusapan, matapang na humarap at nagpakilala. Ako po si Angelique Lazo at ito ang In Person.